It is not news that there are certain people who enjoy watching and reading stories that relate to crime and killing, but it becomes scary when this likeness turns into an obsession. This woman loved the thrills of crime stories and decided to try it out. Let's look at the case of Jung Yoo-jung, the crazy crime story fanatic. Jung Yoo-jung, a woman who had a significant interest in crime stories, confessed to the murder and dismemberment of another woman, as reported by the police in South Korea. It was speculated that the individual who committed the murder did it out of curiosity. They wanted to know what the consequences of their actions would be. The police in the city of Busan, which is located in the south of the country, stated that they had detained a woman. The woman reportedly had a deep fascination with true crime narratives and a burning desire to find out what it would be like to carry out a murder in real life, as reported by the police. Because Jung became fixated on murder through television episodes and novels, it was determined that she had planned the crime in advance. The reason for this was that she had formed a strong want to hurt someone after being focused on murder. According to the Chosun Ilbo's story, a representative for the Busan police said the following. In addition, Jung has been quoted by a representative of the police department as expressing sorry for her behavior. In order to determine whether or not she displays psychopathic traits, we are now conducting tests on her. On the basis of the evidence that was gathered, the authorities have arrived at the conclusion that the murder and dismemberment were the result of careful planning and preparation before they were carried out. After discovering that Jung had been searching the internet for information on how to conceal the body of a murdered person over the course of the preceding 3 months, the authorities decided to launch an inquiry into Jung's disappearance. This discovery led to the opening of the investigation. It is believed by law enforcement officials that she undertook some of her investigations into the case by reading crime novels and watching crime shows on television. It can be seen from Jung's library record that in the months leading up to the crime, she checked out a number of books from the library that dealt with criminals on various levels. She was trying to do research on how to carry out the perfect murder. During the course of the investigation, it was discovered that she had gathered evidence for the alleged crime by consulting both her mobile device and books that she had borrowed from a library. In order to choose a victim, it is thought that Jung used a website or mobile application that puts parents in touch with private teachers. After that, Jung contacted the victim while pretending to be the mother of a 9th grader who was interested in enhancing their knowledge of the English language. She calmed the victim's fears by reassuring her that her daughter would travel to her home in order to carry out the consultation. After that, Jung is alleged to have gone to the house of the victim while dressed as a student and wearing a school uniform that she had purchased online. That particular day, Jung wore a school uniform that she had purchased earlier in the week from an online flea market. After that, she brought out a knife and walked to the residence of the person she intended to attack while she was there, according to a statement made by a representative of the police, which was carried by the Chosun Ilbo. The victim most likely confused Jung for a student at the middle school since she was dressed in a uniform. This is most likely the case because Jung is petite in stature and because she was wearing a uniform. In addition, it was also discovered that Jung Yoo-jung had searched on her phone for the term family member murder prior to the commission of the crime, and she had even warned her father about the murders she would conduct in a phone conversation. It was discovered that Jung Yoo-jung had confessed to her father 3 days prior to the crime that she planned to do that she was unhappy with her life and had discussed the matter with her father over the phone for 2 hours. It was found that Jung Yoo-jung had said the following to her father: "I will do something awful, then you, father, will suffer. After I commit something bad, I will commit suicide." The victim had been stabbed a total of 111 times by Jung Yoo-jung. It was also discovered that Jung Yoo-jung had cut off relevant body parts in order to evade identification through the victim's fingerprints, and had stabbed the victim's palms multiple times, even after the victim had ceased resisting. After that, she got in her car and drove to the closest store, where she bought some garbage bags and bleach. After that, she returned to the residence of the victim in order to dismember her. The victim's cell phone, identification card, and wallet were carefully taken by Young. After Young had finished dismembering her victim, she put some of the body pieces in a suitcase. Following that, she flagged down a taxi and discarded the suitcase at an undisclosed location among the woods close to the Nakdong River. According to the report filed by the police, Young made an effort to give the impression that the victim had disappeared. The cab driver, however, became skeptical of the situation and reported it to the authorities. The police located the luggage. They opened it up and found some clothing that had blood stains on it. The remaining pieces of the body were found at Young's apartment. The investigation revealed that Young is the type of person who enjoys being by themselves and in seclusion. Since she graduated high school 5 years ago, they have been jobless ever since then. On Friday morning, Young was transferred out of the prison center and will now be subject to legal proceedings. She reportedly conveyed her most heartfelt condolences to the victim's family, as reported by the Korea Times. The residence of Young was searched by the police, and they found several bags containing bloody clothing, as well as some of the victim's body parts. The 23-year-old person, who was obsessed with true crime, had planned to commit the perfect crime, but they were quickly arrested instead. At first, Young stated that the woman had been slain due to an argument between the two of them. However, she later confessed the truth when the police discovered inconsistencies in her story, and her family encouraged her to admit her actions. The crime committed by Young shocked people in South Korea because of its impersonal nature, as reported by the Korean teams. Young had no motive to kill except to satisfy her curiosity about murder. According to the police, Young was discovered to have planned the crime because she had developed a strong urge to kill someone after becoming fixated on murder through TV programs and books. Her obsession in this situation was fatal. During the prosecution investigation, Young Yoo-jung confessed that she had killed the victim, but claimed that the victim had miraculously come back to life and spoken to her. She requested a mental evaluation as a result. Regarding this matter, criminal psychologists have analyzed that Young Yoo-jung may be seeking a lenient judgment by claiming mental instability in their statement. Young Yoo-jung is also reported to have made statements such as she felt betrayed after her father remarried, and she felt frustrated because she had to continue living with her grandfather, with whom she did not get along. The motive. Lee Soo-jung, a professor of forensic psychology at Kyunghee University, has been conducting an in-depth investigation of this incident and the offender. He claimed to the media that Young most likely murdered the woman because she was jealous of the woman's lifestyle and everything she possessed. The victim had an excellent reputation in society and attended a top institution. On the other hand, after completing high school, Young led a solitary existence for a period of 5 years and has never had a job. Even after she had dumped the body, Young was found to have the identification of the deceased with her, as stated in the police records. According to Bae Sang-hoon, a criminal profiler and a police administration professor at Woosuk University, her solitary existence may have induced psychopathy. During the commission of the crime, he thinks that it is quite likely that Young was unable to differentiate between the real world and the virtual one that he was inhabiting. There were so many assumed motives for the cause of this murder, but the fact remains that the woman didn't deserve what happened to her. For more crime stories like this, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to this channel.